With eased COVID restrictions, the number of employees returning to offices has increased significantly. According to a research conducted by Work in Sync, a SaaS company that creates solutions for hybrid work, the overall return to office is now at 45% of pre-COVID levels as of April this year. While 99% of Mumbaikars are back at their offices, Delhi NCR showed a steady increase in their return to office trends as well, with 61% back in offices as of April. This data is based on the usage details of Work in Sync platform by over 3 lakh employees. Now, this report also finds that 52% employees that were surveyed prefer a hybrid work model in the post-pandemic scenario. 54% said they'll consider leaving their job if they're not afforded some form of flexible working. Now, as per this report, the companies can save around $11,000 per employee per year by adopting a hybrid work model. Is that then the future? Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Deepesh Agarwal, the co-founder and CEO of Work in Sync. Deepesh, hello and a very warm welcome to the show. 45% your report says have returned to offices on average across India. What is holding the other 55% back? Is it a change in the company's policies where they want a remote working model, or are there any kind of hindrances or restrictions which, if they lift it, could lead to higher numbers coming back?
Sure, Ritu. Pleasure to be here and nice talking to you. I think if I could just give you that 45% was the data 3 weeks back when we last calculated. I just actually looked at the data yesterday evening because the month had finished, and this number of 45 has gone close to 55%. So as we are speaking, Ritu, week on week, we see a growth of around 2 to 3%. So frankly, I think from the month of March, this number was as low in February as 16%. And if you see in 3 months, that 16% has become 55%. So I would say, Ritu, in the next 2 to 3 months, we will see the number close to 75% or 80%. And that would be close to a stable state scenario. The rest of the workers, or maybe some part of their jobs, might permanently move remote.
Okay, so 75 to 80% of people may return to offices. The rest of the jobs will permanently remain remote. That is an interesting finding. Any other, key takeaways from this survey that you conducted? Some of the trends that have emerged since the pandemic, and how permanent are they?
Sure. So I think this data is actually a little more than a survey. It is actually the usage of the employees who are actually coming to the office. And as you mentioned, that around 3 lakh employees use the platform. So first, I think the trend, which is that the first set of employees who were back at the office were mostly from the banking and the financial industries, because they were the first ones to show up at the office. As we are speaking globally, the global companies which operate out of India, especially internet tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Adobe, Amazon, etc., have actually moved their workforces back to the office. The large employers of the country, which includes Infosys, Wipro, TCS, HCL, I think are taking it a little slow. Obviously, we all know that the biggest reason is that there has been a lot of attrition. And I think that brings me to the second most important point, that while the data said 52% of the employees would work hybrid work, but I think if I were to go as much as 80 to 90% of the employees might not choose a job if there is no flexibility in their work. And flexibility means both. It means flexibility for the place of work, which is working at home sometimes and working from the office, and also flexibility with some time of work. Especially for women employees and some of the caregivers, there has to be some flexibility with the time of work. So I think if companies do not by default adopt hybrid, I think talent retention will surely become a very big problem for them.
And has that already started to show up, where the lack of this flexibility is leading to a lot higher attrition more than other reasons?
I think while it is not printed on the media in black and white, but the reason some of the companies have not declared, and as you did, the first question you asked me, why is it only 45 and not gone to 100, is because companies have been a little slow in declaring their return to office policies. So you are right. A lot of the employees, when they look at their offer letter and they do not find either flexi work or hybrid work, they actually choose a different offer rather than this offer. So it is surely showing up in black and white.
But I don't know how sustainable that is going to be. I mean, you have examples on both ends of the spectrum. You have companies like Microsoft and others that are encouraging employees to choose remote working if they want, to choose hybrid working. And on the other hand, you have, reportedly the Tesla CEO telling employees, come back to offices or lose your jobs. So, what is the future going to look like?
Sure, surely, I think Tesla is driving its own way, and no comments on that for all the stock price it drives up and the market value it creates. But I think, Ritu, what is important, which we should realize, is that 2 years back, when a lot of companies said we will go 100% remote, to me, I think it is good to acknowledge the fact that companies which do a lot of creative and productive work, just 100% remote will not make the cut. So I think that is the first thing which we should all acknowledge, that companies, even if it is white-collared workers which work on laptops and mobiles, will not be able to work 100% remote. So I think that remains to be kind of implemented, that the first step is move hybrid. You want to do 2 days in the week to the office, you want to do 3 days in the week to the office. That will depend upon the kind of work you are doing and the kind of job you are in. So I think, but 100% remote, which a lot of companies declared, like Twitter, etc., have almost retraced and said that we will move to a hybrid work. Yes, 5 days in a week is sometimes needed, and let's leave Tesla aside. But companies which need to be feet on street, security companies, housekeeping companies, facilities companies, delivery companies, are some examples which will need 5 days. Having said that, I think there is one advantage which hybrid certainly gets when you are working, the day you are working from the home, is that it saves your commute time.
Sure.
On average, the commute time in India is around 53 minutes in one side of travel.
Yes.
And if you are able to kind of work alternate day from home and office, around 3 days is what you would save on your commute time. So frankly, Ritu, that is some significant time saved.
Yeah, 3 days definitely is a lot of time saved. Perhaps it's higher, in cities like Bangalore and Mumbai. But that aside, of course, it will depend from the nature of the job. Have companies seen a significant saving from this hybrid working model already?
So let's talk about the first and the simplest saving, which is the real estate saving. The data which we had put in the report, $11,000 per year, is actually a global data. So it kind of covers some very expensive cities which could be in Europe or in the US. But if you look across the country, India, some of these the companies which employ lakhs and lakhs of employees, if you look at a pre-COVID level, if I'm just giving an example, if Infosys grew from 2 lakh employees to 3 lakh employees, in a pre-COVID world, it necessarily would have to increase its real estate in the same 33%, right? Because employees need that those desks and those seats to sit. But in a hybrid work, because employees are coming only alternate days, they necessarily don't have to increase their real estate footprint. So I think this is a real hard number which you are saving. And I think the average cost of a seat in India per employee per month is more around 15,000 rupees, which is around $200. So I think anywhere between $2,000 to $2,500, you can surely save in terms of the real estate. And second, I think obviously if the employees are working from home a few days, they save on their commute time, and this is a little more energy and a little more time which they give for themselves or for the work. So surely I think there is some significant savings, both in terms of hard savings and in the terms of soft savings.
All right, Deepesh, thank you very much for bringing us those insights and taking your time to join us on the show.